This topic is on master files. So let me give you a little background before we explain exactly what master files are. In WinEst, we store our filters, filter views here, our page styles, our totals page filters, job cost filters, and report chains are all stored in a config file, .cfg file. Everything else, such as settings for where your screen is on the big screen here, if I click Add, but these settings where this is stored on the screen are all stored in the INI file. The last number of files I may have had open, so all of that sort of stuff is stored in an INI file. Toolbar buttons. This is big for customers because it's the look and feel, the UI basically. These are all stored in the INI file too. So not to confuse this with the filter itself, this points to a filter. Tools, preferences, there are a lot of preferences that can be managed in WinEst, and this really probably would be better as like a configuration section for administrators. However, in here, if you go to folders and files, you can see it's got master INI file and master config file. So what that means is that if there are certain settings I want in the master INI file, for example, let's say I want certain toolbars that I want everybody to have that, I store that in a master INI file. So I may have added an additional button. And I'll go ahead and do that really quick. And I'll point that to a filter. So I'll point it to alternate details. And I may decide I wanted a certain button, all of that stuff. You can see here, now when I click on that, that fires off that filter. But these settings can be changed by the estimator, so you can remove that button. However, if you store the settings for this particular toolbar in a master INI file and then point the estimator to it so that every time they open up WinEst, what happens is it merges that group of settings into the local user's INI file, thus standardizing the look and feel of WinEst. And the same process happens with the config file. So if you have 2 or 3 filters, you can store those in a master config file. And then every time the estimator opens WinEst, those 2 or 3 are merged into his local config file. Thus, everybody has the same filters. So it's a 2-step process here. Managing this so that everybody opens up WinEst and has the same look and can look at it, the same standard company filters and the same toolbars is very important.